This is Tabletop Weekly, and we are the partners of Solarian Games. I'm Jason.
And I am Peter, Mr. Beard.
Mr. Beardy Man. Mr. Beardy Man. All right, stories for this week. We got a few. Group Finder, something I just learned about. Didn't know about them until recently. They have the data on what people are playing in TTRPGs, at least what they're playing when they go find groups with them. WotC is hiring a TRPG. They wrote TRPG, not TTRPG. I don't know. Publishing lead. Mega Dungeon Month on BackerKit. A cyberpunk board game that lets you stick it to AI, and more cyberpunk, but in a different vein. Cyberpunk 2077 trading card game is the most funded trading card game ever on Kickstarter, and we'll say that number to you when it gets to the story. It's a big number. It's more than I have.
Yeah,
I don't have that in my couch cushions.
couple bucks more than that. Yeah.
Dive us in, Peter.
Yes, I shall. All right. So, Group Finder, as you said, is a free global matchmaking platform. Sounds like a dating site, right? That is designed to connect tabletop role-playing games. Oh, by the way, that's TTRPG. Players and
it's just RPG as far as I'm concerned. Everything else is a CRPG.
Right, there you go. Yeah, there's a term for that, by the way. Anyway, according to their 2026, what's that?
Is the term grumpy?
No. I forget what it is. It's not backronym. It's like a retronym or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically.
So
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, just real quick, like anything that used to just have one name and then has two names because something happened in the future.
Oh, right.
Name it backwards. So like you can even do it to yourself. So if you have a child and you give them the same name as you do it to yourself because now you become senior. Yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It was something like before they. There was never a time when people had to say ebooks,
right?
Right, and then suddenly, yeah. So before we talk about the numbers here, have you tried Group Finder? Did you look to see if there were any in your area?
I did. I looked at the website, but I was busy getting notes and stuff, so I didn't really have time to dig around in it a whole lot.
This was kind of neat. I've seen a bunch of people have tried to do this, right? Everybody thinks, wouldn't it be great if there was a way to find groups? And so they make a website and they think, this is going to be the one. And they forget that you can't really do a website like that unless there's already people on it, right? You can't make a looking for group website if you're the only one on it, because you'll just be like, anybody want to play? And nobody's there. So how do you get them to go? So I don't really know how long they've been around, but I did do a test here in Central Connecticut, which I think should be a little tougher than if I'd done it in Seattle or something, right?
Like New York City.
Yeah, well, I don't even know with New York. I think, Seattle, big gaming town, right?
Okay.
Whatever. It found a few. There were, I think, like 4 games, people looking to form groups within driving distance of me. Didn't look like they were having a lot of success doing it. So, I mean, they're probably just still starting out. But, I mean, they've done enough that they're able to get this kind of data. So somewhere they're getting people to find it. So it's a neat idea. They let you find groups to play whatever TTRPG you want to play, either in person, and that's the search I'm talking about, finding just 4 of them in driving distance, or online, in which case there actually were a ton of them.
Yeah.
And it's just by that. So I think it's a neat idea. We'll see how they do. I like their logo.
Right.
It's cute. It's like little map circles, but they sort of make a beholder, and it's
Yeah,
simple.
I was gonna say I see a beholder.
That's neat. Yeah. So anyways, Group Finder, we'll give it a try. If anybody else gives it a try, let me know if it works for you.
Okay. Yeah. So according to their 2026 data, they have 1,500 active players or active player profiles and nearly 700 active group posts. They provide analysis of the tabletop role-playing trends based on their matchmaking data as of this month, April.
There's a caveat, right? 1,500 is not a lot of people.
No.
That's not even a big gaming convention, right?
No.
So 1,500 people. This is going to be interesting data based on what they're doing. I would not consider this data across the industry, but it's kind of neat.
I mean, it is data,
Yeah, it's better than 3.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And to be fair, 1,500 is a good number. It is not reflective of like the gaming industry is millions of players, I believe, but it's a cool little sample size. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fair look.
If you were doing a survey and you needed to survey 1 million people and you talked to 1,500, you would consider that a decent sample size.
Right. Right. Not
So
definitive, but decent.
yeah, so there we go. We got a decent sample size here. Let's see
So-
what they have.
So Shakarooney, Dungeons and Dragons is the most popular system by a significant margin.
Sure.
Groups 60% of the groups are currently looking for players for Dungeons and Dragons, either 5.5e, 5e, or some previous edition.
Okay.
Players.
So they've left it off of this chart because that would just be a big spike number that
Yeah.
would make all the others hard to see.
Yeah.
So the chart we're looking at right now, a nice simple colored chart. There's already a big one. I'll let you say what it is,
Right.
but at least we can see the smaller ones.
Right. That is Pathfinder, which is, I mean,
Again, no surprise.
no surprise, right? And then what? Daggerheart comes in after that. So you've got like basically
That is a surprise.
well, yeah. I was gonna say you've got like it's like D&D, knockoff D&D, and knockoff D&D.
Yeah, that's true. But
And I don't mean look, I don't mean knockoff in a bad way. I just mean it's
yeah,
you know what I mean. It's
fair
like-
enough. We know what it is.
Yeah. All right, so
But Daggerheart being pretty big on that list, it might be a function of how new it is, and people are like, let's give it a try.
right,
So,
and the popularity of Critical Role. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that that has something to do with it. Anyway, so players, if for the players, if groups are over half, then the player side is even steeper, as 90% of all player posts on Group Finder are looking for a D&D game. That's crazy. That's crazy.
so I don't understand that. What?
So when they're saying groups, like the groups are when you have a group that's already formed, they're
Yeah.
looking for players. It's 60% of them. But when you have just players who are looking for groups, it's
Okay.
90%.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And then, but they do say there is a willingness to experiment. Because you have D&D's lead, but it's as you can
You
see
mean
in the
they're
chart-
you mean they're dice curious?
Oh, I like that.
I'm gonna
I like
experiment.
that.
I'm willing to experiment. I'm dice curious.
Nice, curious, right? What does Mike say here?
Mike, hey Mike Pickett, and hey Dale. Mike says I have to say that the thing that I've always loved about TotalCon, is that I can spend 4 days playing anything but D&D. There are so many great systems and genres out there.
That is true.
Yeah,
Very true.
I fully agree that without that's a great thing in conventions. You can actually get a chance to try something that maybe your group won't go for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Brian saying there would be no Pathfinder or Daggerheart without D&D. Absolutely true. Yeah, definitely no doubt about that.
Definitely. I don't think there would be a Pathfinder without the old D20 craze.
It would, I'm sure people have written articles about this and talked about it, but I'd love to see a really well-informed thought experiment on what would we have today if D&D had not been invented. Would somebody have invented the role-playing game? Was it a
Was it like an
inevitability?
inevitable? Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say maybe it kind of feels like there was other stuff happening at the time that may have led to that anyway, right?
Yeah, there were a number of things, proto role-playing games before it, and we always look at it as a straight line, but it could have gone a lot of different directions. So
Right.
that might be a fun one. We should get some of the people who know
Yeah.
to actually posit that future. Anyway,
Cool. All right. So as we saw, the top alternatives are Pathfinder, Daggerheart, Call of Cthulhu, Vampire the Masquerade, and Cyberpunk Red. No
so
surprises.
those are all the
anywhere.
ones that have 5% or more.
Yes.
So Pathfinder 39%, Daggerheart 18, Call of Cthulhu 13, Vampire 10, Cyberpunk 5.5.
Yeah.
And then we get a game I've never heard of.
What is that? What does it say?
Lancer.
Lancer.
I don't know what that
never
game
even
is,
heard
but
of
it's
it. Yeah.
3.5%. It's bigger than Shadowrun on that.
Yeah,
on that
that's
site.
interesting.
So if anybody knows what Lancer is, let us know.
Yeah.
And then there's a group OSR, just OSR in general.
Yeah. And then Star Wars, which that's kind of surprised. Well, I don't know. Star Wars is a role playing game. It's a good game and everything, but I think it's always struggled to take like a big lead in anything.
There's a lot of things that could have been there, so it's interesting that
Yeah.
Star Wars is the one.
Right. And then Mutants and Masterminds, that's a tiny bit surprising, but it's a great game. So maybe
Yeah, but it's straight. I think this is where the sample size kind of thing comes into it. Is there's probably some reasons that those are the ones that are getting represented here and not
Right.
some others. So I'd love to know why, but until they get big enough, if they ever do, it's hard to say.
Yeah. So that's about it. That's the news for that story. There's not a whole lot more to say about it. It's just kind of a cool little survey.
It's very cool.
I'm not, and
All
again,
right.
not totally surprised.
No, not surprised. The only thing I am surprised about is there's a number of games I would have expected to see represented on there. Maybe Starfinder. Now that I'm saying that, I don't know. You're not going to be able to see something like Car Wars on there because you can't really
No.
play that.
And that's,
I don't know.
I don't know
I don't
how
know.
much
We see
popularity-
We see Cthulhu on there. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who can say?
Well,
You know what it is? There's no. I don't see any story games on there. I don't see any Powered by the Apocalypse. I don't see any
Yeah.
Morkborg. I don't see any Shadow Dark.
no Savage World.
I'm not saying that Shadow Dark is a story game, but you know what I'm saying. I don't see a lot of the new stuff on there, and maybe that says something about who knows about this website.
Like, I wonder if they're throwing Shadow Dark into OSR.
Maybe. I just wonder, is Group Finder representative of a particular demographic? Have they actually got a broad sampling of the
Yeah.
gaming population, or is there one kind of person that uses Group Finder?
That's a good thing, considering neither one of us ever heard of it,
Yeah. So it can't be a big deal if we don't know.
Right, that's right. God damn it.
Okay.
get the
The
next
the next story. This is been all over the place as people go, "Oh, do you want this job?" All right. Well, no, you don't. But Wizards of the Coast is hiring what they call a TRPG publishing lead. And I'm going to start here with the actual job listing from LinkedIn. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read a little bit of it. At Wizards of the Coast, we connect people around the world through play and imagination. From our blah, 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 blah. They talk about how great they are, and then they say, this role sits at the intersection of creative direction, franchise strategy, and program management, ensuring that externally produced content meets the creative brand and standards of D&D while benefiting blah, 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 blah. You'll be the primary creative owner and day-to-day point of contact partners. You'll also help build and run our 2P, 3P publishing pipeline. Don't know what that means. Translating product architect briefs into clear partner direction, driving schedules and gates, and ensuring we deliver on time, on budget, and a D&D quality. Look, I've had to write a lot of job descriptions. It sucks to write a job description. It's hard to do.
Right?
You can't write one without sounding like a corporate dweeb. It's
Yeah.
whoever wrote this, it's not their fault. So that's just what happens. But it looks like what it is it has a lot to do with working with third-party publishers and licensees and figuring out, where the franchise is going, since they've talked about how they're bringing it all under one remit, so to speak. But yeah, so external creative leadership. So basically, if somebody, and they call it externally developed, so third-party stuff,
Right.
working with them to make sure that it actually looks like D&D and plays like D&D. Something called cross-functional collaboration, which is corporate talk. Act as a creative liaison between external partners and internal teams. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's a lot of basically, you've got to know D&D really well, and you've got to know how to protect the brand and make the game be like the game when you're working with a third-party publisher, is basically what it sounds like they're looking to do. So
Yeah. What it sounds like they're looking to do what we keep talking about, we talked about this multiple times about how again, back to the D20 craze, how when that blew up, it actually was not great for the game because there was all this garbage that came out because no one was controlling anything.
Yeah.
Everybody's slapping D20 on there, and whereas this, I think they're going in a better direction. They're saying, yeah, third-party publishers make stuff, but hold on, make sure you make it to quality because we don't want another D20 craze.
And I don't think that this is an indicator of any change in their strategy of how they work with third-party publishers. Right now, if you want to make stuff for D&D, the situation basically sucks. It just sucks. Your choices are, you have three choices. Number one, you can publish through the DM's Guild, where Wizards takes a huge chunk of your money, and you really get no ability to make it your own. It has to look like their stuff. It basically makes you look like you're standing outside the restaurant with your face paint, pressed to the glass, going, "Please, sir, may I come in? Oh, you let me put DM's Guild on my book. Ooh."
Right.
It's almost like a farm team or something, but not even as cool as a farm team. So that's one option you have. The second option is you can actually get a license from Wizards to be a publisher, and that's Unobtainium. There's like two companies that have that license. They're just not working with companies to let them develop for it. And then the third option is you just use a lot of weasel words so that you don't break their copyright. You can't say that it's for D&D. You have to make a game like accessory for quote unquote the most popular role-playing game or whatever you want to call it, or for
Right.
5th edition. But you can't really say things, and you have to always do this little dance. It sucks. If you want to make a game for Xbox or Switch or PlayStation, you make it. I mean, it's. I'm sure that there's paperwork and stuff to deal with, but they're not gatekeeping so hard that you can't really find anything from other publishers.
Right.
And in the early days of the video game world, the reason that the Atari VCS or 2600, whatever you want to call it, was the dominant system, even though it was kind of a crappy technology compared, there was other game systems that were great. But if you wanted to develop for Intellivision or ColecoVision or later the Sega Saturn or any of those things, it was really hard to do. If you wanted to make something for an Atari, you just did it. They didn't care. And so it became the number one thing. When D&D was first happening in the 70s and 80s, it was a lot easier for companies to do it, even though TSR was litigious, because they just didn't have the firepower to stop people.
Right.
Now, Wizards is sitting at the top of the heap, and they're just saying, if you want to make something for us, we're so important, you better beg us on your hands and knees or follow all of our rules. It's working for now, but if Daggerheart gets more popular than D&D, if Pathfinder comes back on the ascendancy, they're going to find themselves with no friends.
Right.
So this job is to make those friends. Can you do it? I mean, maybe. I feel like it's not necessarily one that's set up for success.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they say here, that they're going to do all these things, and it does look like the takeaway is that they are scaling, with outside help, and that they want to get there. And this job, it looks like it's basically, part creative lead, part project manager. I feel like it's going to be a high stress role, really high stress role. Who's going to be perfect for this? I don't know. Somebody who lives in Renton or around there, because it's a hybrid role. It's not fully remote, and that makes sense. This would be a hard job to do fully remotely.
Right.
But if you're out there and you think you can do it, they're on LinkedIn. So go and get yourself a job.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next story. Oh, this is a cool one. So
Yeah.
I didn't even know. Again, another thing I didn't know was a thing. So there's this, apparently BackerKit has this thing called Mega Dungeon Month, and yeah, right.
Who knew?
Yeah. So Mega Dungeon Month on BackerKit is highlighting a massive crowdfunding projects that celebrate TTRPG history, most notably unpublished work from D&D creator Gary Gygax. I've heard of him. Sounds familiar. So the key projects include Castles Zagig. Now, what's interesting about that is I was like, wait a minute, didn't that come out already? It did.
Yes.
But this is a part 2. I didn't know there was a part 2. which is a 27 level campaign based on Gary's 1970s notes. And then there's another one called Castle Wolfmoon. This one is cool.
Now this is the Chris
Clark.
Clark one.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll come back to these other ones. We'll circle back around, but
Yeah.
this is just really cool. It's like basically it's they found a lost hard drive,
Yeah.
and are pulling information off of, pulling the files off of, that's pretty friggin' cool. And then there's this a third one called the Meta, not Mega, but Meta Dungeon. Now that's actually on Kickstarter. So it was interesting that this article referenced. It was talking about backer kit, and then all of a sudden there's this Kickstarter one in the middle, but whatever.
Right.
And that one sounds really cool too. So let's go back. Let's go back to Gary's. Let's go back to Zagig.
Right. So it was Goodman Games, I think, that put it out originally.
Yeah. This is someone else, though, I think. I thought I saw.
Okay. Yeah, because I know Goodman had it. It got shut down by Gale, who was just like, I don't want anybody ever playing D&D again.
Apparently. Right.
That was a parody statement for purposes of legal.
I know.
Blah, blah, blah.
We're just kidding.
But I think the original Castle Zagig is back is back in print. So this must be more stuff they found.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so there was volume 1, 2, and 3 was the first round. And then this is, as you can see on the bottom, volume 4 and volume 5, the Dungeons and the Caverns. And it's let's see.
Who is this?
The Mad Mage's Darkest Depth with the Dungeons Volume 4 and Caverns Volume 5. Huh. So that'd be kind of cool. I mean, that's like, I don't know how you do a mega dungeon. Have you ever done a mega dungeon?
They're stupid.
Okay.
They're stupid.
I mean, wouldn't it get boring just going like, go to this room, kill this monster, go to this room?
They're fun to make. I mean,
right.
You get yourself the biggest piece of graph paper you can think of, and you put every room you can imagine, you fill it up, and you're like, oh my God, look what I've done.
Right.
And then how long is it going to take you to play through that thing? The rest of your life.
Yeah.
And like you say, eventually you're just like, okay, we've been going through rooms for the past 2 years. We haven't left this dungeon. I'm going to go play Star Trek.
Yeah. Right. So that's my thing. I don't, anyone's in the room, they want to comment on whether they've done a mega dungeon and they see it differently. It just never was a thing I'd want to do. Like I never thought, actually, no, I'll take that back. When I was like 16, like you said, and I was drawing these big giant maps for things that we wound up never really doing. Right. I thought they were really cool, but
they're fun to make.
Yeah.
And they're fun to read and look at, and I don't know. They're usually gonzo and silly. You can't really make it make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like the way they handled it in Delicious and Dungeon, but you'd have to watch a series because to get into like how, I don't want to explain it here, but they actually go through why it's a mega dungeon, and like people actually go in and leave and come back and go in and leave and come back. So it's kind of neat.
Okay, so I just looked at it. It is Troll Lord. So I was mixing up. Sorry, I was mixing up Troll Lord and Goodman. I'm pretty sure Troll Lord did the first Castle Zagig as well.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I think, boy, am I going to get flack for not remembering things. But I'm pretty sure that it was the Troll Lords who were actually working with Gary all along in his later years of his career, and he was publishing through them. So they didn't just like pick it up. And it mentions here that this Castle Zagig is written not for D&D, but for Castles and Crusades, because that is their game.
Right.
And Castles and Crusades, I mean, that is about as old school and legit as you can get, because the Castles and Crusades Society was the name of one of the gaming groups that Gary belonged to early days. So the name of the game refers to, original 1974 folks. It's not some... Yeah. It's very much not a Johnny Come Lately. And it's a great game. Castles and Crusades is a really great game.
Surprised that wasn't on that list.
Well, it's older players that play it, I think. I don't know how much they have the younger bunch. But I was just looking on the Troll Lord site, and they have some stuff on their pages from before this Kickstarter or backer kit was started, saying what it was going to be. So it says here that... oh gosh, I'm not sure when they wrote this, because it says Mike Stewart is the head writer for this, And it says he won't be alone. Luke Gygax joins him, as does James M. Ward. So Jim Ward, of course, sadly has passed. So this is, you know, presumably been going on for quite a while. Jason Vey, Jeremy Farkas, and Dave Chenault. It says Davis Chenault. I wonder if they meant David Chenault. Anyways, so you know, a good group. You know, I'm sure they would get the right people to do it. So this is going to be a very legitimate, you know, good thing.
Right, and they always do good stuff.
They do.
Yeah, it says Mike Pickett says a mega dungeon sounds fun if you have a DM who is good at running, but maybe doesn't have the time to write a huge campaign.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, it's fun if you just go, let's just get in there and kill some monsters and take their stuff.
Right.
That's cool.
All right, so then we go into this Castle Wolf Moon. Now there wasn't a whole lot of information on this one.
Well, this
I
is
think it's
pretty
'cause
cool.
it's
I've been following
sorta
this
early.
one for a bit.
Have you now? So what do you know more about?
Yeah,
this?
so I'm not going to get into all of the drama. There was a bit of drama for a minute there about this maybe a year or so ago.
Okay.
And I'm happy to see that the drama has been resolved and this is coming out. To summarize it, basically, someone had questioned whether or not this was actually a work by Chris Clark and Gary Gygax together. And it absolutely was. They were working on this in Gary's later years, and Chris finished it up. So once that was, it caused a little trouble with the first crowdfunding that was going to happen like a year ago on this. And so all that got resolved. Here it is now. Basically, Chris and Gary were collaborating for a long time on this very big adventure, and it was never completely finished, you know, as really big projects can be. But it's very much a Gary Gygax work, and I think they're saying it was Gary Gygax's last work. I don't have any I can't say anything about that, whether it was or wasn't, probably. But Chris Clark is a great designer in and of himself. Inner City Games is his company, and he's made things for decades, and people love his work. So, I mean, I would pick this one up first, honestly, because I think it's going to be a little bit more off the beaten path from some of the stuff before. So, very excited that it's actually coming out. It looks great.
Cool. Fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
And then we have Die RPG. Enter the
Is it Die RPG or DRPG? Is it like Die Bart Simpson Die?
I don't know. I think it's
The Bart the.
I think that's an acronym though. I think DIE stands for something. So I'm not. So it's probably Die because D would be a German word. I mean, it was like a German word, like DRPG.
The RPG.
so-
You want to
right.
play the RPG
Right. So
in the meta dungeon?
I got to admit, I'd never heard of Die RPG before, but apparently it's been around for a bit.
Good for them.
But here's the cool, like really cool thing about this, which I thought was neat. You in the Die RPG system, players you play the character you made. So in other words, you make a character, and this is what I was reading. I'm hoping I'm not getting this wrong.
I mean,
But you make a
should.
character, and then what actually happens is you get pulled into the player metaphorically get pulled into the game. So you're playing
Oh, you stat yourself?
you're playing that character in the dungeon.
Okay, that's why it's the meta dungeon.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat.
That sounds
I would
kind of
play
good.
that.
Of course,
I would try that.
If I statted myself, I would die instantly in any
No.
game.
You don't have to do that. So you have the stats of your character. It's just you are embodying that character.
Okay, I'd have to see it then. I don't really know what that means because that's how all role-playing games work.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you're a modern person in a modern world who was playing a character in a dungeon, and now you're in the dungeon.
Okay.
And that's how
okay.
you view the world. Like, oh shit, how'd I get here? What is going on? Right. And that's how I think you're supposed to play it. So
That could be pretty fun.
that could be fun. But apparently this dungeon explores the 50-year history of TTRPGs and is described as a nightmare hellscape. This was the quote, designed to teach players everything from the history of the hobby to the mechanical pain of THAC0. So, I don't know.
Well, first of all, THAC0's easy, you losers.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, it's too newfangled for me, but you know, it's easy.
This fancy new Thaco.
Fancy these kids with their Thaco. Oh my
Right.
god. It looks cool. I'd like to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently, oh, this is something I didn't know. Die RPG was made at the same time. Thanks, Chanbot. I think that's Mike. Die RPG was made at the same time in conjunction with the comic book of the same name.
Oh.
So there's what I should do. I should read the comic book
Yeah.
because then I would get what was going on.
Yeah, it's basically, I think it's kind of, if you think about it, it's kind of like, fuck, it's really meta because it's Lit RPG, the RPG.
Well, I'd much rather play Lit RPG than read that garbage. So yeah, absolutely. Now, Lit RPG is the worst quote unquote literary genre there is because it's just I'm playing a game. Listen to me play the game. I'm gonna make a bad joke. It's just
Right.
ugh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But people like it, so if you like it, good for you.
Yeah. Don't be bothered by Jason's opinion. Jason has opinions on everything. Trust me. He hates the beer I drink. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, I'm always right. At least there's that.
That's true.
Okay, I like this. All right, Simon. You want to read what Simon has to say about this?
He says if your characters die, you have to lie on the floor and the other players get one kick.
I would now I'm in. Now I'm in.
Now I'm playing. All
I'm
right,
ready to play now.
let's do it. All right. Anyway, that's it. That's all that story is. There's
All right.
check out the backer kit for its mega dungeon month.
Yeah. Definitely. And if you can only get one of them, I would go with the Wolf Moon one. But if you can get all three of them, they're probably all really good.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so this is cool. We don't usually talk about board games that much, but this one just caught my eye as being really interesting. It's a cyberpunk board game. I know there are cyberpunk board games. I'm not enough of a knowledger to know these things. It cannot bad happen. It can only good happen. I don't know. But this game is called Tamashi: The Final Amendment, and it is actually a sequel to this is a sequel to another board game, which is already kind of neat. The first board game was called Tamashi Chronicle of Ascend. And if that feels kind of like an awkward phrasing, I believe that the game creators and publishers are from Poland. And so some of the things get translated and maybe lose a little in the translation. So if there's something that's like that, I bet you we can't read the Polish, so they're doing better with the English.
Yeah, I say that that actually endears me to it a little bit more. That's fun.
Yeah, and I figured out they were probably Polish when I looked at the awards they had won so far. So the first game, Tamashi Chronicle of Ascend, has several awards and nominations from Board Game Quest and also from one that I hadn't heard of before, a gaming award called Gra Roku.
Nice.
Gra Roku. And it's a Polish gaming industry award that's been around for 22 years. So
that can't be right. That can't be
What?
right. 2004 was not 22 years ago.
Oh no, yes.
Cannot be right. I deny it.
No, definitely not. But on Board Game Geek, the first game has a community rating of 8.1, so people really like it because nobody's getting a 10.
Right.
8.1 is darn good. I'm going to just talk about some of the things that people liked from before. So this game is set in a cyberpunk world where nothing too groundbreaking here. An AI has gone to war against humanity and taken down most of the planet. So it's not exactly post-apocalyptic, but it's certainly post-horrible worldwide war. And the rebels rose up and they sort of won. A very Pyrrhic victory from what it sounds like. The world that's left over is a big mess, and people are trying to kind of rebuild from the ashes. But even the ashes, as they say, can still be destroyed. So the AI wasn't completely destroyed in the first game, and so they're making their way back. The idea of a sequel board game is kind of neat because it means that you can use everything you learned from the last board game, all the mechanics and everything. Board games are hard to learn.
Yeah.
You gotta sit there and be like, oh, wait, I do what? And I mean, if you look at the picture we have on the screen right now,
Look at
this thing has
pieces.
a zillion, exactly 1 zillion. I counted, that's how many there were. And It is of all the things that people liked about it. One of the negatives that people did seem to complain about in the reviews is it gets a little fiddly with so many small pieces, and you're resetting things. And okay, I get that. But stuff people liked about the first one is, first of all, the core mechanic. It sounds kind of neat. It's a match 3 token manipulation puzzle on your player board. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's kind of a neat little thing. It has a body switching mechanic where you can jump between different bodies or different characters throughout the game. And in the new one, they've expanded that by coming up with new bodies or whatever you want to call them, character classes. And it has some kind of video game type of unlocking that happens where you can unlock new cards, new bodies, and new tiles as you go along. So you play the game once, and then when you go back to play it the next time, it's a different experience because you've actually leveled up in the board game. You've unlocked new things.
Okay.
And that's really cool because otherwise board games can get sometimes a bit repetitive. You know, we've played this before. Well, no, you haven't. You've unlocked new stuff. So that's neat. People do say that the rule book got a little confusing in the first one, which I'm going to just put down on maybe the translators. And
Could be, yeah.
like I said, they can be kind of fiddly, but it looks like a really cool game overall. So what you do here, it's post-apocalyptic, like I said, maybe just post-difficult war, but you play as a soul that can jump between different physical bodies or shells. So that's kind of altered carbon
Yeah.
kind of thing to survive and fight against the machines and the AI that controls the world. You program your abilities and attacks ahead of time with a little match 3 manipulation mechanic. And it's very scenario driven. So it has kind of elements of an RPG and a board game and a video game all kind of mixed together, which is neat. Looks really fun. This new game, they put a lot of new shells or bodies in. They have new expansions. They've updated some of their components to be a little bit better. It just basically looks like they had a game that people really loved, and they're taking it to the next level with a new one. And one of the things that caught my eye about this, why I thought it was pretty cool, is that the cyberpunk genre, like any genre that a lot of people pick up on, gets interpreted very differently from place to place. And anything that gets kind of popular, like cyberpunk, you have a lot of people who just care about the surface aesthetic. They're like, oh, it's cool. I've got neon and I'm going to drive a cool Acura motorcycle and I'm going to jack into the Matrix with my implant or whatever. You know, they just like the look of it. But at its core, it's about fighting back against a dystopia. You know, it's about this idea that technology and corporatism and all these other ills of the modern world ultimately reached their inevitable, certainly dystopian conclusion, and now you're stuck in this world where you've got to fight back against it.
Right.
And a lot of, well, cyberpunk literature almost always gets that right. But a lot of cyberpunk games kind of don't. Like they get so caught up in look at this cool place that I'm in that they sort of leave out that part. And it sounds like from what I read on this one that there actually is a fair amount of fighting back against the man kind of situation to it. And that sounds interesting to me because it's certainly relevant right now. It has been for decades.
Well, I feel
like to
like
see it.
I feel like you're not playing cyberpunk if you're not going up against the man. Like that's
Yeah.
the whole punk aspect, right?
Yeah.
Take on
And,
the man. That's why it's got punk in the name.
Yeah, and I know that the punk suffix gets overused. We got cyberpunk, steampunk, diesel punk, hope punk, solar punk, punk, I don't know, country punk. God
That's
knows
it.
what else.
Our next game is punk. No, I'm just kidding.
Punk. Yeah, punk. So it's a little bit of a convenient shorthand, but it works. You're right. It is the fighting back part. I think is what makes it that.
Because otherwise, it's just a sci-fi game.
Yeah.
It's not cyberpunk. It's just sci-fi.
Yeah. This is an expensive game. It says here the retail MSRP is going to be 193 euros, which is about, I think, $220.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
And so when you
Jesus
get it through the
Christ.
crowdfunding, you get it for less than half. You get it for 95 euros. So 110 $10 or something like that.
Yeah.
But $100 plus board game, I know that they've become a common thing, but still, I mean, you've got to commit. You've got to have friends who are like, yeah, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to spend the price of, if you bought it complete at the retail price, we're going to spend the price of a video game console on one board game. So,
Or the price of 2 DoorDashes.
yeah, yeah, or a night out drinking at places that charge too much for booze.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
like going to Manhattan for a night out.
Oh, we went down to Philadelphia this week to go see Jarlath Regan, great comedian. Check out Jarlath Regan. And the bar at the venue, I think it was like $25 a drink.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Not at all.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Ooh.
So
Ryan said he bought Galactic Cruise for $215.
now that's probably $2.15 Canadian. So that's
$10.
only $1.50 in freedom money, but still.
It's an order of Starbucks.
No, that really is. I mean, I think that's like $175 or something.
like
It's
that,
still a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. So, you're going to buy something like Galactic Cruise. You're going to play that thing. You got to get your money's worth.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Cool.
Well,
So
our
that's my
next
cyberpunk story. What's yours?
I got a cyberpunk story. You get a cyberpunk story. This was a short one because it just wasn't a whole ton of information on it. It's a pretty simple, straightforward story. There's the official cyberpunk trading card game. Now, they said it's by Weird Co. So I guess they're a license because if it's officially cyberpunk, it's not Art Talsorian and it's not CD Projekt Red. It's a third company. But
Yeah,
I'm
I don't think that
assuming-
Art Talsorian's big enough to handle, doing this as well, right?
Probably not. No, probably not.
And a video game company wouldn't know how to do it.
No, I wouldn't trust them to do it. But
Yeah. The art's cool as hell.
Yeah, the art is badass. Well, I mean, art, it looks like it looks to me like they're reusing, art, or they've hired artists to copy the style and everything.
The first one, the main one almost looks like Derek Riggs from the Iron Maiden artist.
Okay. Oh, could be. Yeah.
It's kind of metal. It's very cool.
Yeah. But check this out. It has raised over $20 million from 31,000 backers.
When I looked yesterday, it was $17 million.
Oh, wow. Jesus. Well, I just pulled this. So $20 million.
$20 million. That they're going to be busy getting
think
this thing out to everybody.
Well, I mean, what is that? Like, God, 31,000 and I don't know, what does a collectible card game have in it? 200. I don't play them too much. What do you get? 200 cards? 300 cards?
I don't know. I mean, to do a collectible card game, you've got to be at scale because cards are expensive to print.
Yeah.
And you've got to do a lot of these. And if you're making them collectible, you've got to figure out how can I make enough packs. Yeah, the 20 million is basically it's kind of where you need to be if you really are serious about making a trading card game.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's Weird Co. This is either really good for Weird Co. or going to be terrible for them if they got their prices wrong, but it should be fine. They are working with CD Projekt Red, so that's good.
Hopefully they worked out their tariffs already.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Hopefully the trading card game doesn't need to go through the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh yeah. Right.
Oh my
gosh.
So
it ends Friday, April 17th. So that's coming up.
Yeah. Right after. Oh, that was smart of them. Right after tax day. So people got their refunds.
Right. Well, or at least they know how much they're getting either way.
Yeah.
So
They're ready to make the plan.
The core concept is it's a player first TCG featuring iconic characters and factions like Arasaka and Night City Mercenaries. Yeah, I saw a bunch of from the, I don't know if you ever watched the Cyberpunk cartoon that they put out about the same time that the video game was coming out. But there's I can't remember, 6-7 characters in it, main characters in it. And I did see cards for all of them in the thing. Wait a minute, do I have other images or is this the last one? Nope, that was it. So that's the only image I captured. But yeah, so they have characters in it from the video game, and more, of course.
I mean, it's smart. I do not play that much of the Cyberpunk. I don't know the world too much, and I'm interested in this. This I don't play trading card games either. There's something about this. It looks great.
Oh, check this out. So Mike Pickett says, I'm not going to put this up on the thing because it's too long, but he says, what are
I
your
am.
thoughts? Oh, can it? Will it fit?
Yeah,
Oh, it
look at
does
that
fit.
fitting.
Oh, shit. I didn't think it would fit. Okay, sorry. What are your thoughts on a Cyberpunk TCG that can generate 20 million from backers, yet had such a low percentage in that earlier story about people looking for groups? Because, Cyberpunk, it ties right into the role-playing game. Well, Cyberpunk did appear on there, so that's interesting.
The fact that it appeared, yeah. I mean, first of all, I don't know how representative that was, but a role-playing game is generally going to be the least seller of something. People are going to definitely play the video game, and we already know that if you go to any friendly local gaming store, and they are mostly Magic the Gathering tables, right? Or people are playing other TCB. What is the acronym? TCG.
TCGs.
Right? CC. It's a C collectible card CCG.
Yeah, I don't know why they put TCG on here.
I don't know, but anyways, people are playing Pokemon.
Trading. Oh, because they're calling it
trading.
trading.
They're playing Magic. They're playing Pokemon. They're playing others. I could easily see this becoming a very popular thing at the game stores. So my thought on it is that this is just a more popular genre of gaming than role-playing games.
Yeah. Well, I think there's probably a distinction between CCG and TCG. This might not be a collectible card game. In other words, when you buy this, maybe you get all the cards. You're not collecting anything. You buy the pack and that's it.
Maybe. I really don't know.
I don't know either.
No, I'm reading the small print here. It says Cyberpunk TCG is designed for trading card players and collectors and fans of the Cyberpunk franchise alike. So, and then Simon is asking, does anyone own the expression cyberpunk? So, kind of yes and no. You can trademark it for a specific thing. They own it in terms of a game. You cannot make a game and call it cyberpunk because they can do that. But you could make a coffee and call it cyberpunk. And Tesla with the Cyber truck basically stole the logo from Cyberpunk for their Cyber truck. I mean, look at that. Don't you think that their logo looks like this?
Kind of, yeah.
I don't know if they stole it, but it's definitely inspired by. But yeah, I mean, you can say I'm writing a cyberpunk genre game. You just can't call the game cyberpunk.
I think GURPS did, but GURPS got away with it because its name was GURPS Cyberpunk, and their books are settings, so maybe that was okay.
Well, I think you could put the word cyberpunk on anything to say this is a cyberpunk game.
Right.
Genre. It just comes down. Intellectual property law just comes down to what reasonable people would infer from something. There's no hard and fast rule. There's no scientific law that you can follow. So basically, if Artel Sorian or whomever owns the trademark for cyberpunk wanted to go to Steve Jackson and say, we're going to get you, they would go to court and the judge would have to decide, is it likely to be confused? Is somebody going to look at the GURPS book and think, I think this is a cyberpunk property?
Right.
And so you never know. I mean, Simon's asking, if it appears in the dictionary, can it be owned? Yeah, absolutely it can be.
Yes. Yeah.
We own the trademark for Top Secret. Nobody else can make a game and call it Top Secret without paying us money.
Right, but it's just
getting
just for
permission
a role playing game. We don't own it for anything else, right?
Right. We don't own it for board games, for example.
Right.
Well, it's questionable, but the point is that just because it's in the dictionary doesn't mean you can't trademark it. It just means that when you trademark something, you can only use it for the purposes you trademarked it for.
Right.
So Paris Hilton trademarked the phrase, "That's hot."
Right.
And people who don't understand IP law got all upset. They're like, I'm going to say that's hot all I want. Well, yes, you can do that. You just can't make a perfume called That's Hot. That's all.
Or what was it? Let's Get Ready to Rumble. That was trademarked.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So what else? There's two fulfillment timelines. Just real quick. There's a wave 1, which is Q3 2026, and wave 2, which is Q4 2026.
Oh, so if you buy bigger, more expensive stuff, you get in the first wave. And
Yeah.
if you buy one of the lower tiers, you're in the second wave.
Yeah, which okay.
That's another way to kind of push people to the higher levels. I
Want
mean,
you
it
stuffed
worked.
tuner? Right.
It worked.
Yeah, well.
No, good for them. Very
Yeah.
smart. Very
Yeah.
smart. So I want it.
It's,
I would somebody buy it and I'll come over and play it at your house. I don't want to pay money.
sure.
But,
You know,
all
it's
right.
funny. We're playing Cyberpunk in our home game right now.
Oh, well, see, there you go. And hey, you know where else people could play Cyberpunk?
You know, they could come to this thing called ModCon and play. I
ModCon
hear.
is where you
Yeah.
can play Cyberpunk.
No.
May 30th, ModCon. Sign up your games. I was just hanging out with Joey Royale this afternoon, and he was telling me how excited he is to come and play some games at ModCon. So listen to Joey Royale and do it. Come to ModCon.
Right. Tell your friends about it. If you can't come, say, "Hey, I got a friend that lives up that way. You should go to this thing. These guys are really cool." Well, something.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah,
All right. That's it. We're done for the month. We're done for the night.
for the night.
No, we're done for the month. We're done for the night. So, sorry, going senile.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, subscribe, leave us a review, and Patreon this month is free.
Free, 100%. Everything. Go download everything.
It is a shopping cart rumble. Go in there, shopping cart supermarket sweep. Just go and take
Yeah.
everything.
Yep. Have to pay a penny.
Take it all. We don't care because we're going to lock it back down at the end of the month, and then you have to pay money again.
That's correct.
So, all right. We will see Patreon backers over in the after party in the Discord in just a few minutes. So hop off now, and we'll see you all there.
Ciao.